I just wanted to show that Bitcoin dominance chart because I think it's such an important chart, how you've been knocking on this 49% level over and over again. And then look at what's happening right here. I'm charting as a chartist, which is what I do, is that it tells you the more you knock on a door, the more likely eventually you break through. And so in this case, this door was a firm door stretching back to really 2021, right? I think people have to remember that the Bitcoin dominance is a shorter term trend, meaning that if you go back further, I mean, it was way higher just before that 2021 bull market. So just like we said, this was consolidating, kept on hitting resistance, finally in the process of breaking out right here on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Now, in all fairness, there's not a lot of resistance on the way up now. I mean, you're getting to a point where there's a big move coming in this Bitcoin dominance. And the first thing I see, and I'll put a trend line in, see all these kind of pivot points right in here, right across here, this low right in there. Look at this. Look at how you kind of can draw a line right across here. And what's even more amazing in this, if you take the highs of Bitcoin dominance from 2017 and you connect it to the highest point in 2021, look at the convergence of those two trend lines, and it's vice versa. Because it really, I think that's very powerful when you see a confluence of these type of things. And so I'm right around that 59-60% level in terms of Bitcoin dominance. It's the beginning of a bigger move in Bitcoin dominance that's just starting, which in charting, that's exactly what it is, right? When you hammer on a level over and over again and finally break out, it's not like a breakout of this magnitude. It's usually a much bigger move that's just beginning. And I think that's really important. And at some point, I do crack and come down. And in general, that's not going to be good for the alts, because if you have people getting scared even at the top, the best, I mean, Bitcoin, again, if there's one that's going to survive that's not going to be regulated by the SEC, it's Bitcoin. If that breaks and starts to collapse down, let's say it even gets back to 20,000, very hard for money to feel comfortable to go into the even riskier assets like the Cardanos and the Solanas and those other ones as well, right? So one of the stories I take from 2017 with Bitcoin is, I tune into stocks. Especially back then in 2017, I was trading 99.9% stocks, commodities. So I had CNBC on in the background, and I used to always remember that in 2017 they had the ticker of Bitcoin at the bottom, monitoring price. They would talk about it on every show and bring it up. And then what happened was, as it came down in 2018, they eventually, it got to 10,000, to 9,000, 8,000, 7,000. They actually removed that ticker from the bottom because it was just, and they did not talk about it at all. And that was a signal to me, right? Once they were like, okay, no one wants to hear about this. This is not even a story anymore. We just want to pretend it doesn't exist. That's where I start to say, oh, okay, now people are fully kind of giving up on it. And you're right. Same thing in the dot-com bubble. It takes your wind out of your sails to the point where you say, this is too hard. It stretches you to your breaking point. And that's really where you're supposed to be buying. And we didn't see that in 2022. And again, I use crypto Twitter as one of my best research tools, in that when I post something, I monitor how many people disagree with me and how adamantly they disagree with me. And the more they disagree with me, the more I believe I'm going to be right, because again, that's how emotion and psychological charting and price action works. And so again, same thing now. We had gotten up to 30,500. And I said, hey guys, in fact, let me show you guys this. I mean, this is just like one of the reasons you have to charts are amazing in this respect. But if you looked back at 2021 right here, and you looked at the midpoint of the cycle, and then you saw here, it made sense that this was going to be where the most resistance on the chart was going to be. Let me just show my chart here, and so we can kind of take a look at this. And this is one of those things that kind of has me saying, all right, so right now this is the NASDAQ chart, and everyone is just becoming such a big bull. All right, the sentiment for the stock market is at the max greed level, or close to the max greed. But notice what we saw here. We saw sharp down, big bounce, sharp down, big bounce, sharp down, and then we've kind of trailed up here, and we're actually at about a 618 Fibonacci retrace on this chart. So we're right at a 618 Fibonacci retrace. Now, if we go to the weekly chart, and I'm just going to zoom all the way back to the dot-com era, and this is the weekly, so just bear with me, but look at that same sort of pattern. Sharp down, bounce, sharp down, and then we get this up move. And if you look at this was also approximately a 618 Fibonacci retrace right up here. And look at what happened. This was the big drop. And in fact, if we go to a measurement tool here, we can see that, you actually had an initial drop from here to this low of around 41%, and then the bounce was, look at that, 42%, essentially the same sort of percentage bounce. So 41 down, 42 up, and then the rollover occurred. And interestingly enough, if we go back to our current cycle here, all right, if we go back here and we do that same measurement tool, we can see we had a 37% decline. And then same thing, if we look at the lows here, we're at 33%, right? So the thought process here is we could go up another few percentage points, but that doesn't, where we are in the NASDAQ doesn't mean that we're any different than where we were in the 2000 cycle. In fact, we're not even quite at the recent highs right now if you measure from top to bottom.
저번 주 같은 경우 비트코인의 가격이 크게 하락하였습니다. 이유에 대해서는 SEC 제재에 대한 효과가 뒤늦게 나타나기 시작했다는 평가가 있고요. 최근 바이낸스 US는 엄청난 출금 사태가 발생되는 모습을 보여주고 있습니다. 이번 주 CPI, FOMC, 바이낸스 US 자금 동결 판결 등 큰 이벤트를 앞두고 있는 만큼 큰 변동성이 예상되는 주입니다. 크립토 시장 대표 하락 트레이더인 가레스 솔로웨이는 정말 대중들이 시장에 관심이 없을 때 바닥 시그널을 캐치했는데 아직까지 대중들의 인식에서 그런 시그널을 발견하지 못했으며 나스닥 차트에서 과거 다큰버블과 비교를 해봤을 때 좀 더 큰 하락의 가능성을 본다라고 합니다. 오늘 영상이 도움이 되셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드리고요. 영상 하단 링크를 통해 떡상매들의 유튜브 채널 입장 가능하십니다. 들어오셔서 좀 더 단기간점의 분석을 참고해 보실 분들은 도움 받아가시길 바랍니다. 백구였습니다. 감사합니다.